Good day, everybody. This is Robin Johnson, your presidential candidate. Today, I'd like to talk about crime. I don't know whether crime has risen a lot, uh, but there is crime like when we talk about abuse, when we talk about in the families, when we talk about drugs, hard drugs in this country. And it's not a question of them intentionally doing it to get money. Most of the people who are selling drugs today is because they've been forced to go and sell drugs, because they haven't been given any other opportunities. You can't even go to the bank to get a decent loan to start up a business, you know? So what I'm saying is that in order to bring down crime and corruptions, we need to put something in place that benefit the Seychelles people, which I keep saying. We've got to have tourism into every household so that they don't need to resort to crime or drugs, because we've got 5,000 to 6,000 heroin addicts in this country, you know? And you see what happens with these people when you go campaigning. When I go campaigning around and you see these people, they're not happy. Seychelles are not happy at all because they have to resort to the worst kind of business, and that's drug dealing. Who creates that atmosphere? Who creates that kind of scenario? It's the government, because they are mismanaging the way they govern people, because it's all about them. And then the people are forgotten. So where do they go to? When they try to start up a business, they get hammered by bureaucracy. If they try to do a little bit of entrepreneurship, they get based by bureaucracy. What happens on Ledig is one way. What happens on Prana is another way. What happens on Mahe is another way. You've got different rules and different regulations for each island. They're not states, you know? So to reduce crime in this country, we need to increase employment for our Seychelles people. So they don't need to go into the dealing of drugs or stealing or ripping off the tourists. Because we don't, as a country and as a people, we're not giving opportunity to our youth. And that's why we get crime. And that's why I say, when I want to decriminalize cannabis, I'm going to use number 10 as well, to decriminalize cannabis. It's so that we don't get more crime or petty crime, people spending time in jail, and then afterwards for weed. And then afterwards, when they've done 9 years or whatever, and they've only got 3 or 4 months to go, then somebody comes along and shoots the guy. So now he's got a death penalty. It's not a prison sentence, it was a death sentence. What did they shoot him for? I don't know why they shot him. Maybe he knew too much, and they used it as an excuse. But you don't know, because it's all crime, there's all corruption, there's everything involved in this country, you know? When the president keeps saying, "Oh, if you're not careful, we're gonna arrest you, drug dealers." He's been saying that for 5 years, man. You know, warning people, warning people. You get there and do it. Get out there and do the job. If there's crime and you know about it, you've got to tackle it head on. But you don't create laws also to make criminals, because every time you create a law, the law will be broken. Look at licensing, and look at the licensing authority, the hassles that people get to start up a business because of the bureaucracy. And that's why they revert to crime, because the law and the government And the Constitution is not being looked after. You know? It's not being looked after. So what do? What do? We just keep doing the same thing over and over again, filling like methadone, like the methadone ice cream vans, which I call. Just keep pumping them up with methadone. Just keep pumping them up with methadone. That's all, no problem. Keep them all stupid. And that'll make all the government officials and the police and everything look like they're great and that they're squeaky clean. So I don't know what to do about the situation right now, but I know that we need to retrain our police force. We need to retrain our CID or whatever these people are. We need to retrain the way we look at social services so we can get into the community. And when we get into the community and we hear about problems in the community and we don't do anything, then we are supporting crime because we're not doing anything about it to help the community so that they don't go towards crime. We need to get them away from that mentality that they've got no hope. So what do? We must relook at things, rethink things. You go on campaigning, you go to even go to the ghettos, the areas. I go there because there's people that I've seen since kids that grow up and the only thing they know is the drugs. That's all they know. They don't know what to do. What are we going to do to uplift these people? What are we going to do to uplift them? What are we going to do to make their lives better? What are we going to do to make their lives like they're islanders, where there's the sea, there's the ocean, where they can benefit from it? Make this beauty, make Seychelles into a drug, if you like, and let them benefit from that. We cannot continue down this road where we think it's all right, because drug addiction leads to crime, hard drugs leads to crime, where we don't have anything to make people better with rehabilitation centers. We've got to get down to the nitty-gritty. We're only 100,000 people in this country, and we're failing them. We're failing them. The government has failed. The US has failed. Whoever wants to come into politics and does not see these kind of issues that I see, where it destroys the morale of our people, alcohol as well destroys the morale of our people, because everybody wants to drown their sorrows in something that they've done because they're drunk. Alcohol can swim, my boy. You'll never drown alcohol. Alcohol swims, But if we show respect, and if we educate our children from a young age to show respect towards each other and other people, then we can build up our country, a small country like this, where we can be almost crime-free. Because the way I look at things is when we can get tourism and jobs and all that without all this bureaucratic bullshit that we always have to face, because we've got stupid people working in the licensing or whatever, the authority. They think they know everything about business, but they've never even started a business on their own. They have no inkling whatsoever how to run a business. But then you've got other people who have gone to study and gone to work in other countries and come back to bring their new ideas. Seychelles bring their new ideas to our back home, and then try to start up a business. And then we've got bureaucratic bullshit. So what happens? They make everybody redundant, make them all useless, feel useless. So what do? Go and party, go and get drunk, go on drugs, you know? So we're just turning this country into just some sort of cesspit. Because all the people that are running this country, if they're not benefiting the country, and if they're not looking after our people, and if they're not looking after the sovereignty of our country, then they're also criminals. They're also criminals. You know, they're no different, because they don't do anything for the Seychelles people except lead them towards crime. And that's what we're pushing. This LDS government and the US government, all it did was push for methadone, push for drugs. But they're saying, no, we're fighting drugs, we're fighting this. Nah, it cause couillon, man. Good because la lang, man. You've got a guy, Lewis, what's his name? The guy in the army who's been in remand for 4 years. Wavell, that's a crime. You don't do that kind of thing. You know, where's the justice? Where's his day in court? You know? What are you going to do? Run over to Abu Dhabi like James Michel or what? Have you given up on the country? I don't know. But you've got to, everybody has to rethink the way we're heading. Because more and more crime, and sophisticated crime, is coming into the country. And now we're allowed to sell land to these foreigners. We don't have enough land. When did Seychelles suddenly become the size of Africa to start selling land to foreigners when we don't have enough for our own people? People have been waiting for houses for ages. You're selling apartments at the canopy, but you haven't put the Seychelles first. That's a crime. Ram Kalawan. A crime, sir. When you start selling your land and then the Seychelles people who have been waiting for so long for land. It's a crime. Wake up, man. Ouvrez les couillon. You know, it's just you know, sometimes you just don't know what to say, or you don't know where to start with, you know, to say, you know, to explain, because the whole island seems to be in one big cesspit of crime, from drugs to scandals to under the table deals. Just, we're making our country rotten, this paradise rotten. For what? Not for the future of our country, not for the future of our people, not for the future of the Seychelles people. Nah, yeah. Because napa direction, napa vision, napa nah, yeah, man. So, everybody's getting lost in this country. You know? Only a few. If you're doing the right thing, if you say the right things, you know, then yeah, fine, you're okay. But if you criticize a little bit, you're discarded. You know, Flore LaRue now is going independent for All Cup. You know, it takes a long time for people to wake up. Maybe she's suddenly seen the truth, but you benefited it as well from all your political career and all that. But you're going to lose friends as well, like I did. But I left because I saw the rot. I saw the bullshit that was going on within the party of LDS and the National Assembly. All the crap that goes on. Because you kowtow to an idiot who doesn't give a shit about the country. That's a crime. You know? So, crime in Seychelles is allowed to happen because there is no real governance. There's no real care for the Seychelles people. There's nothing there for them to look up to better their lives. All you want to do is demoralize them, so you push them down, makes them all depressed, and then they don't know what to do, so they'll go and have a beer, and then one thing leads to another, and the next thing they're in crime. Then they'll prostitute their women too, you know. So let's think about how we fix our country. And when we fix our country, we will reduce the crime. We will be able to get jobs out for people. You know, Seychelles are usually good at heart, always good at heart. When you talk about the Seychelles people, say, ça va bien, n'a pas problème avec Seychelles. It's just that, so la vie, their life, the way they're treated, second-class citizens, they give up. Seychelles don't believe in politics anymore. I hear it all the time. They don't believe politicians anymore. Thank God I'm not a politician. Or probably being a politician. Because I don't want to be part of the shit. I want a clean slate. I want to make Seychelles a better place. À nous relève, Seychelles. Have some pride in our country. Have pride to be a Seychellois. You know? Anyway, it's a difficult subject, I know. It's going to be a hard fight. But if we create jobs, and if we give hope to our people, not to the people outside wanting to come and buy land here, but to our own people, you'll see that the crime will drop. You'll see that the Seychelles lives will be better. So let's, à nous relève ça pays. À nous relève nous peuples for a better Seychelles. And let's kill the crime because we've given jobs and work to our people. Thank you for listening and have a great day. I believe in the Seychelles people. I really do. À nous relève, Seychelles. Merci. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.